Hey, welcome to Eric's Messy Garage. Today we're going to talk about the process of getting a rebuilt title here in the state of Florida. When I started this process, I knew nothing about the process. Fortunately, I was able to learn quite a bit from some other YouTubers, and at the same time I also did a little bit of research on the internet. The first step of the process involves selecting the vehicle that you want to buy. Being that I fairly well knew that I was going to use Copart, I chose to use the website erepairables.com. There's many others out there. There's advantages and disadvantages to each one, and I encourage you to do your research. The one that I chose, eRepairables, gave me access to more than just Copart vehicles. What I had decided I was going to do was purchase a Miata. The reason being I wanted something inexpensive. Something that'd be fairly easy to work on, something fairly small that wouldn't take up a lot of space in the garage. And for those reasons, I began searching for Miata. My goal was to find something in Florida, and after some very brief research, I decided to probably try and find an NC Miata. Knowing what I know now, I may have made a different decision, but we'll leave that for another video. So after probably a month or two of looking and lurking, I came across one that really met the requirements that I was looking for. It was located in Tampa, Florida, so it was easy for me to go and pick it up and transport it myself. And it appeared to be in fairly light damage condition. I'll go ahead and put those photos up on the screen now so that you can see them. Being that this ticked all the buttons, the next step was figuring out how much I wanted to bid on it, knowing that although my goal is not to flip the car, it was something to enjoy rebuilding and putting back together, but I also don't want to lose money on it. So I came up with what I thought my maximum bid would be and entered it into eRepairables and let them bid on my behalf. On the day of bidding, I was pleasantly surprised to find that the car went for less than what I had put in for a maximum bid. I had put in $1,900 and it sold for only $1,300. It came to just over $2,000 after both Copart and eRepairables fees. And again, we'll talk about that part in another episode. Once I got it home, I began the process of disassembly and inventorying the parts and pieces that I would need to complete the project. It's very important to note that any major parts that you purchase need to have documentation to go with them. The reason being is that the state wants to ensure that you're not purchasing stolen parts. So in this case, you need to buy them from either businesses that have business licenses and can give you information such as the VIN number of the car that it's coming from, and that obviously you're paying sales tax on it. If you're purchasing from a private seller, you need to ensure that you get the driver's license information from the seller as well as the VIN number that the parts came off of. This way you can provide documentation to the state so that they can certify that you're not using stolen parts. Once you complete the rebuild process, there's a couple forms that you're going to need to fill out. I will go ahead and show those forms on the screen now. The first form is the rebuilder statement. That is where you describe very briefly the damage to the vehicle and the parts that you use to replace it. You're also going to be signing that document, and this is a sworn statement. The second document is a application for title. To begin this process, you need to already have had a salvage title for the vehicle. If it has a certificate of destruction, I'm relatively certain you're not able to go through this process. So with that salvage title, you transfer your information for your application for your new rebuilt title. You'll then take the two forms that we've previously discussed, along with the pictures, and your salvage title, and those will need to be submitted to your regional DMV office. This is going to be a dealer services office. Here in the Orlando area, there's one out in West Orlando. There's also one in Volusia County, up in the Orange City area. And that's the one that I used. You have the choice of either mailing in all your documentation or taking it up there in person. There's a $40 fee for turning in this paperwork. The local office will review your paperwork. Once they're satisfied with that paperwork, they will call you to schedule an inspection. In my case, the Volusia County office only does their inspections on Tuesdays. So I was able to schedule an inspection for a Tuesday and take it up there. The process is fairly straightforward. Once you arrive, you pull into the designated inspection parking spaces, and you go up into the office and you let them know you're there for your inspection. In my case, it only took about 15 minutes, maybe 20 minutes at most. You might be wondering how you're going to get the car to the inspection facility without having it registered. Once you've received your phone call and scheduled your inspection appointment, you then can go to your nearest tag agency. They will grant you a 10-day temporary tag that you can use to go ahead and do your shakedown of your car. In my case, take it to get the alignment done, and then get it up to the inspection place. Once the inspection was complete, I was called to the window to finish the rest of my paperwork and pay for my fees. The fees included a title fee and a registration fee, as well as the inspection fees. It all totaled to about $150. When I left there, I had the title, the rebuilt title, which has the word rebuilt on it, and I'll show that on the screen. And then it also has, I also received my registration at the same time. So I was able to go to one place and get everything done, which was very convenient. Overall, I found the process to be quite easy and straightforward. The important thing is to follow all the rules, and don't try and cut any corners. I'm going to briefly now show you the finished product, and you can judge for yourself whether or not, if you were the inspector, that you would approve. I myself think I did a pretty nice job. I wanted to take a minute to show you the rebuilt identification plate that they install in the car. They install this during the inspection process. It is illegal to remove this from the car, so it's very important that you don't destroy or damage this. Okay, so when I purchased this vehicle, as you've seen from the photos, the front bumper was damaged. It was missing a fog light. It was missing this amber side light. This fender was completely damaged, and this wheel was facing the wrong direction. So what we did was we sourced this fender from a damaged vehicle, and again bought it from a seller that had the proper documentation and got a receipt for it. I purchased the replacement bumper from a salvage yard in Zephyr Hills. It wasn't perfect. It actually has a nice big old scratch there, but that's okay. I wasn't looking for perfect. The other major items that had to be replaced as far as the accident damage was the inner and outer tie rod. Alright, I thought I'd show you the tie rod. So the one on the left is the outer tie rod, and the one on the right is the inner. As you can see, it is very bent. It is not supposed to be like that. So that's what we ended up having to replace. We were quite lucky, though, that that was the failure point, because that prevented any other additional damage occurring to the suspension. I went ahead and kept the old bumper while I was completing the rebuild. And as you can see, it sustained quite a lot of damage. At first, I thought maybe there was a possibility I could repair it, but it was too far gone. Which is a shame, because even the non-perfect replacement was quite expensive. And here is the damaged fender. I think there's a possibility that this could have been repaired, but for the cost that I paid for the replacement, it certainly wasn't worth repairing. I'll also note that these are actually the wheels and tires that came on it. Now, the this year MX-5 would not have come with hubcaps. These appear to be off of a Mazda 3. One of the rims is bent, the one that was on the passenger side. These are also very bald tires. So I'm not sure if that accounted for the accident with them being the bald tires. Okay, so that was my experience with my first rebuilt title through a Copart purchase. I hope this was helpful. I'd be happy to answer any questions, so go ahead and leave those in the comment section. And I hope you have a great day. And I figured I'd just give you one last little walk around of the repaired car.